Oh. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on our Mindful Monday episode of our Mystical Wellness podcast. And today is extra special because we have two amazing wellness champions with us this evening. And we have Jess Trigg from the Positivity Club CIC. Jess is the heart and soul behind the Positivity Club, a community interest company dedicated to helping children aged 3 to 10 years old build emotional resilience, confidence, and inner calm through fun, engaging wellbeing workshops. And Jess has over 16 years of experience in education and special needs. She's bringing a warm, grounded energy to everything she does, and we can't wait to hear about her travels as well. And we're also joined by Helen Edwards, who most of us know Helen as Helen Temple Spa. That's how I think of her in my mind. Helen is from Flourish and Glow Wellness and Skincare, and she's a skincare and wellness specialist offering bespoke self-care experiences using the award-winning Temple Spa products. Her services include home spa treatments, wellness in the workplace, group pamper sessions, holistic facials, skincare workshops, and her approach is all about empowering others to feel good in their own skin wherever they are. And the ladies will be telling us a little bit more about their collaboration that's upcoming, about their self-love pamper night. So we'll be looking forward to hearing about that as well. So Jess and Helen, thank you so much for joining us. How are you both?
Thank you so much for having us. Really good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, excited to be here.
Yeah.
Always.
So we'll start with Jess. Jess, please tell us a
Okay.
bit more about the Positivity Club and, you know, how you got started on your journey. Because I was reading that you, Thailand, Australia, these are my favorite places as well.
Yeah.
Parallel there. So tell us, where did it all start for you with the mental health journey?
Very young actually. So without really knowing that I was struggling with my mental health, probably from like primary age, I'd probably say 7 or 8. I just used to really struggle emotionally and just worry a lot. But I also got very good at hiding it. So this smile that everybody's used to seeing was always my mask when I was a child, and really struggled to express myself or tell people how I was feeling. So I used to write and journal quite a lot and write poetry. Um, I really struggled in primary school to kind of get a feel for who I was. I was very much a people pleaser. And I remember thinking, like, struggling, like, I don't actually know who I am. Like, I don't know what my interests are because I'm just so focused on making everybody else happy and pleasing them. And I would struggle with friendships and um I don't know, I think I just struggled with my identity really when I was younger, and I would kind of come home from school and just, isolate myself and get upset. And I would say I was struggling with my mental health then. But I just hid it really well, and as I continued to mask as I got older, I got very good at masking. So it was almost like I was acting. So when I got to secondary school, I loved drama because I could go and pretend to be someone else, and I loved English because I could write my feelings away basically. And I went to an all girls grammar school, which was a hard time for me. When I was about 16, was probably my lowest. That's when I first got diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and just started to go downhill really. It was like almost like I couldn't keep the mask on anymore. It was like it's starting to slip, and I really struggled. And then into my 20s was very, very up and down. I went to university to do primary education, teaching, and even though I was doing quite well in the teaching, I was just people would compliment me, and I just wouldn't believe it because I was just so sad and just really down on myself, and struggled my way through uni, but got there in the end. And then kind of early 20s, I went to a coffee morning, which was in Hoylake, where I live. And it was like a time to talk, national tea and talk day or something like that. And I was so nervous. I remember being so nervous, but I knew that I really needed to go. And I went with a friend, and literally the first time I ever talked about my mental health in a group where I felt safe, and it was like a weight just got lifted off because my family had known about my mental health, but it was all very much hush hush, kind of brush it under the carpet. We didn't really talk about it back in the day. And now, obviously things are much different, but there's still quite far to go in terms of stigma. So that day it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I actually had always said that I wanted to teach in Thailand and teach English. And that day I got on the train after that coffee morning and went and booked my flight to Liverpool. It was like this just feeling of like, I can do it. And kind of everybody around me was just going, yeah, right, she keeps saying she's going to go to Thailand, she's never going to go and she'll never do it. And in the end, I did do it. I mean, yeah, a few years later than I was going to, but when I felt ready and more mentally stable, I went in the end. But I think that was just, that story kind of highlights the power of opening up and the power of talking to people and finding your people, your like-minded souls who just instantly made me feel at ease. And there was no judgment in that room that day. And I didn't have to worry about what people were thinking, and I could talk openly for the first time. So that was like a pivotal moment, really. And then years down the line, it was actually COVID when Positivity Club started. So I would always envisioned having like a centre or a hub where children like me could go and learn how to talk about their feelings, learn mindfulness, learn how to talk about their worries, learn how to express themselves in different ways. And I held back through fear for a long time, which has been a bit of a common theme in my life. And one of my friends who's a life coach, she just said to me, stop focusing on the actual place and just go out and do it. And so I did. And because it was COVID, we could run as a mental health support group still. And there was no other kids clubs on. So we started it and we did self-love superhero sessions, anger workshops, self-expression. We had to do all the mad COVID rules at the time, which was a bit crazy. But we did it and it was really busy because the children were isolated and they were not seeing their grandparents and they were losing family members, and it was a good time to do it. And because of all the rules and regulations, even if they were anxious leaving their parents, the parents couldn't come in. So it was amazing really, and it took off. And that was how that started. And then I also do a time for teens youth kind of wellbeing group as well, and I do time for tea for adults. So the time for tea for adults was inspired by that coffee morning that I went to that day as well.
What were you doing in Australia? Because that sounds amazing.
So I actually went to Australia because I've got family over there, and I was having a really hard time here. I was in the wrong group of friends, and I was just, doing bad coping strategies, drinking too much, going out in with the wrong crowd. And my mum and dad were really worried about me, and they just said, look, I think you need to go to Australia for a few months, and just see like a different way of living and just get away from everything. So I did. It was the summer when I was in uni. I went for 3 months, and I went back there. When I went to Thailand, I went back to Australia for Christmas as well. And that was like, it changed me really as a person because I got like confidence. I had to get a little bar job over there. I had to speak to new people and make new friends, and it was like really pushing myself out of the comfort zone, but doing it in a place where no one knew me really. And obviously sunny climate, going to the beach every day. It was
Yeah.
just like, it was
I
just
think
what the doctor ordered.
I think the sun definitely makes a big difference on people's
Huge.
kind of health and wellness out there.
Yeah.
Their kind of motto is everything's too easy. Whereas
Yeah.
here we're always looking at the opposite end of the scale, aren't we?
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one thing that you took away from being in Australia that you always try to do here? Is there something you do or say that's very
Yeah. Probably having that attitude of just like, slow down, just slow down. And Thailand in particular was like, everything was, you could just go, you could just wear your elephant pants and put your hair on a bun on top of your head and go anywhere, and no one would
No
even bat
judge.
an eyelid.
No.
You'd live in flip-flops, and it was just like, you didn't need much money where I lived and worked at all. And I was right in the north of Thailand where I worked in Chiang Rai. And I loved the family aspect as well. Like a lot of the families live with their aunties, uncles, nans, granddads. They all live together, and it was like material things didn't matter at all. And like you'd have a bit of money over there, like a little bit of money, and it would go so far.
Yeah. I
And you
think
could eat
Thailand
fresh
is my happy
food for like
place.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my
So I
happy
think it
place. If
just,
someone said go, I'd go straight to Bangkok City tomorrow. I really would.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It just puts everything into perspective. I think of like, happiness is not things that you buy. And even if I was down, like I had my moments in Thailand, don't get me wrong. My mental health doesn't ever leave me. But if I had my moments, I could literally just go down to the beach, or I could go down to a new temple I hadn't seen before. I could go, go for a walk somewhere, and you'd be like somewhere beautiful, and you go, okay, yeah, you're okay. You can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nature's a big, massive healer for me. Every time I have really lows, because I still have them now, if I get myself out into some greenery or onto the beach or around the trees, it just settles me, calms me.
I don't know if you guys have noticed on maybe TikTok and Instagram, there's this trend with the parents are reading out phrases that they grew up with that our parents used to say to us. You know, like, I'll give you something too. And
Yeah.
the child finishes it off. Whereas
Oh
what
no, I
I'll give you
haven't
something
seen that. I'd
to
love
cry
that.
about. But this generation saying, I'll give you something to laugh about, and it's so different. So we
Yeah.
grew up with such a toxic, like, smack your kids kind of environment, because my
Boys don't
parents
cry.
were older
Yeah.
generation as well, and I was born in 1975. But there's this whole new trend now of how the kids, it just doesn't even occur in their mind to finish those phrases with something negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how do you help children handle some of these big emotions?
So teach them that it's okay to feel them is the first, my first thing. We did an anger workshop on Saturday, and I said, if anyone learns anything today, I want you to leave knowing that it's okay to be angry. Every single one of us feels anger. It's part of who we are. We're humans. Don't let anyone tell you that that's a bad thing. It means that you care about something when you feel those emotions. And then we look at the brain, the reptilian brain development. So we look at like what actually happens to the child's brain when they feel angry. And I always tell them as well, like, your brain's nowhere near developed yet. So give yourselves a break. Like, if you do have a meltdown or a temper tantrum or whatever you want to call it, dysregulation, that's okay. But what we want to do in Positivity Club is teach little easy breathing, calming strategies before you get to that. So we talk about anger volcanoes and Positivity Club, and before we get to that eruption, what could we do? And a lot of the times, children are feeling emotions and not talking about them, and that's when it builds up, and the volcano essentially erupts. And then we do like science experiment. We do the Diet Coke and the Mentos, which they absolutely love, goes down a storm every time. But we get balloons as well, and they have to shout what makes them angry and try and burst the balloon by stamping on it. So, and we do a bit of screaming and shouting and all sorts to just try and release any tension. And we made little stress balls, and we do like a bit of mindfulness painting and things like that. So, at the anger workshop's always one of my favourites because they love it. If you look at the Inside Out characters, they all love anger. Most of them love the anger one. And they always go for the anger one. But when you actually talk, some of them, they do feel shame talking about it. And it's about changing that mindset of going, no, it's totally normal. Like, you can't
Yeah.
always control those
Yeah.
feelings. And that's okay. And sometimes we will act in a certain way when we are angry. And you can't control that either. But what we can do is try and calm it down before it gets to that stage.
Yeah. Do you run that workshop for grown-ups as well?
No, but we should.
We're thinking of it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would go down well, because up
Good.
until like my teens and 20s, I was just full of rage, but a lot
Yeah.
of that energy wasn't even my energy. So the kind of work I do now is asking that question, who does this belong to, and
Yeah.
letting the energy dissipate. So that's an access consciousness tool that we use. So I
Yeah.
think
Definitely.
teaching that to kids, it probably isn't
Yeah.
even their energy, they just
Yeah.
absorbed it.
But
Like,
also, it's just teaching them the strategies that all the calming strategies that are absolutely free and they've got in their toolbox without spending any money or doing anything else. It's your breath and your mindfulness. You're using your senses and your breath. So
Yeah.
what I'm always teaching them is you can use this no matter where you are. If you're in school and you're struggling, go to the toilet and do some mindfulness, or go see if you can do a bit of deep breathing, and it's there to help you, and you don't need, obviously there's things out there that do help, but you don't need all the latest fidgets or the latest trends or cuddly toys or whatever. You don't actually need that. It's about working with what you were born with, what you've got inside.
that sounds good. Should we do the breath work?
Yeah.
We do that now? Yeah, go on. When you lead it.
Are you doing else?
Who's doing the breath work then?
Whoever out of you two that would like to lead it.
Right, okay,
It's
let's
a
do
bit different
it.
with kids.
Let's do the breath work together then.
Okay.
So let's close our eyes. And then when we take this deep breath in, I want you to breathe in through your nose and really fill your diaphragm. So as you breathe in, your shoulders shouldn't be lifting. You should be pushing your belly out. And then you're going to hold it for 3. So let's practice that. So breathe in. Feel that diaphragm and feel your stomach push out. Hold 2, 3, and then let it out. You can let it out through your nose or you can let it out through your mouth. But just be mindful of that breath. One more time. Take a deep breath in. Push that diaphragm out so your belly should be full. And then breathe it out. Okay. And one more time. Going to go in. Hold 2, 3. And release. So lots of us, when we do our natural breath, it's very short, the breath. So we do need to take that deep breath, don't we? Julia knows about breath, and fill in that diaphragm. So we breathed, like when you do yoga, obviously you're breathing right into your diaphragm, and that is helping that oxygen and just calming down the brain and giving you that natural relaxation. So your body can't be stressed when you really do get those deep breaths in. So most of us would just take shallow breaths all day long, and we're not really filling that space with that oxygen that helps with our brain and to calm nerves.
That sounds amazing. That sounds
So breath work, just as simple as
so
that.
much magic,
It's
isn't it?
just like, I mean, I could go on, but I won't. But that's the sort of thing, isn't it? But most people, when they take that deep breath, when I know they're doing it wrong, because when they breathe in, their shoulders going up. And it's like, no, you're doing it wrong. What do you mean I'm doing it wrong? It's like your shoulders shouldn't be going up and that tummy should be coming out. So it's not something that we do naturally. We've got to train ourselves to do that breath work.
So we've got a question there from the chat saying, what does holding it for 3 seconds do for us?
Well, it just gives that space. So you're just opening up, aren't you? And just giving that space for that breath and just holding it. And also you're slowing things down and you're making your brain have to think. So that's why it's really good if you're feeling anxious, for mindfulness, because you're concentrating on the breath and not just taking your shallow breaths.
Yeah, that sounds great. One of the things we do here at Anchorhaven is we do laughter yoga. So I'm a certified laughter yoga leader, and it is so hilarious. We're not going to do that today, but it is so much fun.
I
And
need
it
to book
empties
you
out,
for my adult group.
yeah, it empties out the lungs and it gets all those happy hormones pumping. And no matter how you're feeling, it really energizes you and gets you feeling amazing.
Oh yeah, well when we finish, I'm booking you in.
And I love dance as well, through dance.
Just
Get everyone
stretching.
to do some weird dancing. We get all close our eyes and you don't look at each other. You just go with the music, let your body do what it wants to do, and then shake it out for your hands. It's just amazing.
I was thinking quite recently that, like, when we were growing up, like, not you, Jess, but me and like Helen, it was like rave music, and so everyone was like shaking it out, and there was that movement in the brain, everything going on. People weren't neurodiverged in the same way because we had all this outlet, we had all this release with the music, and it's very different, what came after.
Every week we did that. Every week, Friday, Saturday. It wasn't just once a month. When you were young, and even in your own home, you'd do it, wouldn't you? You didn't care. You just get that music on and just release it. And I don't see youngsters doing that. They're all on the phones. Just like they're not doing that.
Screens have got a lot to answer for. So we've been doing a lot of work on phones and social media in our teen group at the moment. So a couple of weeks ago we did social media and body image workshop, and it was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe how open the teens were, but it was also quite scary at some of the things that they were opening up about and how people have been very unkind online, and how kind of having screens and social media has opened up bullying even more because people can just hide behind the screens and say horrible things and make threats and take photos of each other and post them and write nasty comments. And it was good really because we've got quite a diverse group of teenagers, and because it was a body image one, they all look totally different. So different shapes, heights, sizes, skin colour. We had our first trans member join us that week, which was a great one for them to join. And they actually, I really do believe that they all left thinking of something that they loved about themselves, the way they looked and their personalities as well. So I'm just amazed up how they responded to it, because all day I was totally overthinking it, thinking, oh, they probably, they won't want to open up or they won't want to admit things, but they did, and they were absolutely amazing. So that's something that's quite a strong theme through Positivity Club Time for Teens and Time for Tea, is the body image thing, because it's always something that I struggled with. And I think back to when I was little, I used to think that I was different to everybody else, that no one in the world felt like I felt. And I really did think, it's all of them and there's them as me, separate to everybody. That was just like an idea I had in my head. But like I would just kind of when I teach now, I think of like the younger me as if I'm teaching myself, my inner child,
Yeah.
and how I would respond, and that's exactly what I must have needed back then, and that's what drives me to do it now.
Do you notice a big change in a particular way with different like boys or girls, or when they come in? It was
Yeah, there's difference. So like when I was teaching a while ago, or I used to work in early years, the children could concentrate for longer, but now because they're on screens and things and they're looking for that dopamine hit and scrolling on through TikTok or whatever, they really struggle to play or struggle to stay still, or I have to plan an awful lot of different activities now because there'll be that one child or two few children that will come in and do literally 30 seconds on each thing, so it's always like they're looking for something else to stimulate them. Whereas in the past we would sit and colour in, wouldn't we, or
Yeah,
we'd
for
sit and play
eight, yeah,
board games, or we'd learn how to take turns, or we'd
yeah,
be out in nature, wouldn't we, climbing trees. And I think that as someone who's worked with kids kind of over the years, I've noticed that concentration and also the imaginations, not they can imagine, they have got good imaginations, but now it's like, we would be given a cardboard box when we were kids and it'd be a boat, a spaceship,
yeah,
a house, all sorts of different things, wouldn't it? Whereas now it's almost like they need that help to play
yeah. That prompt,
because
a
they just
prompt
want the
on
lights and they
how
want
to,
their
yeah.
screens. So it's yeah, I think it is damaging them, to be fair, which is a bit of a scary thought.
Yeah. What advice would you give to parents who don't have a club like the Positivity Club to go to, but would like to help their children with their confidence and emotional resilience?
So there's absolutely loads of things that you can do that are low cost and that you can practice every single day. So things like looking in the mirror and saying some positive affirmations, free, cost nothing. Giving yourself a smile. They laugh with me, the children, because I say, well, every morning I have to say, good morning, Jess, in the mirror, and I have to talk to myself. And they're like, do you really do that? And I'm like, yeah, because I literally have to try and fill my brain with some positive thoughts because my brain will naturally go to the negative. So but with the children, it's quite fun because you can do superhero poses in the mirror, or you can do funny faces, or you can do funny voices when you're doing it, or you can actually make things like that. You can make mental health fun. That's what Positivity Club is. It's not doom and gloom all the time. It can be a fun activity, and the more fun you make it, the more they will remember it. And the more they use their senses, the more that you'll instill their memories, and that's when they'll remember, oh, I need to use my strategies, I need to do my breathing. But there's all you just getting creative. Like we do things like gratitude jars, worry dolls. It's all things that cost literally nothing. But my best resource that I'd recommend for parents is books. Stories are just the best. And I am massive Inside Out fan as well. Right.
Inside Out is so,
Inside Out,
because
so good.
that's I obviously my children are all grown up, left home, but I didn't even know about Inside
Oh, it's
Out till I
fab.
met Jess, and then I was like, what an amazing! It just
Yeah.
covers the whole thing,
Yeah,
doesn't it? That
so good.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
I need to
Um,
watch the second movie.
oh, it's
I've
brilliant.
not seen that one yet.
Yeah. But
That's
books are definitely my absolute favorite resource.
yeah. Okay, Helen, tell us a little bit about your wellness journey. How did it start for you? How did you get into your mystical wellness?
Oh, mystical. So I am quite, I'm quite woo and I'm quite mystical. I love all that. So I do Reiki and I do my little angel cards and I've been in hair and beauty since I left school. So I'm like 59 now, and I've always been around women. And obviously women have come in and they want pampering. I've done facials and do the hair. And then I just thought, so lockdown came. So for me, it was lockdown. Couldn't get out there, couldn't be hands-on. So I went on a Zoom to do this pamper online. And I wasn't looking forward to it. And thought, well, how's that going to be,
Mm.
how's that going to relax me? But honestly, we got on there and the lady's voice was mesmerizing, a bit like yourself. And I just felt instantly relaxed. And she sent us these pamper packs out in the post, and she guided us through the pamper. So she started off with some relaxation. She asked us to set the scene with the candles and to have our hot cloth ready. And we went through this absolutely beautiful experience. And obviously, I enjoyed every minute of it, but also with being in the beauty industry, I was absolutely blown away by the skincare that I just used and how it changed my skin instantly. So with that, I was like, I want to be that person. with that lovely voice, but I couldn't quite mimic that, but I do my best. So I got in touch with her the next day and I started doing the online, but with a twist of wellness. So not come and, buy my stuff, because she was very much buy my stuff, the lady, because that's what she was doing, selling the products. So I took that bit away, but I did want to use the products because they're just so beautiful, the textures and the smells and the whole experience. So I went with that, but sort of then went down the wellness route with it. So using it more for relaxation, getting women to stop, press the pause button and recharge. So that's how I run them now. So like little mini spa wellness.
That's how we met, isn't
So
it?
that's how we met. So I came into Time for Tea, and I ran a lovely little spa session,
was
didn't I?
gorgeous,
And
wasn't
we
it?
did gratitude, and we did
Yeah.
some cards and affirmations, and it was so lovely. And the women just really enjoyed it, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they loved it, yeah.
So that's
And that's
how.
probably not something they ever do really for themselves, is it?
No,
Self-care, like they wouldn't normally
take
take that time necessarily for themselves.
definitely not. Just to indulge in a little bit of you time.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how we've come together, and we've
Yeah.
decided these self-love ones
Mm.
are, that's what it's all about, self-care and self-love, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just being grateful for having that time for you.
I think as adults as well, like what you were saying before, how we've grown up.
Mm.
When we were kids, if someone was like loved themselves, we would frown upon that. We'd be like, oh my gosh, she loves herself, or she's so arrogant, or and we judge them. Whereas now I'm like, I've come full circle, and I'm like, I'm still really working on having that genuine self-love of
Yeah.
like, actually, do you know what? I'm a good human being and I'm doing great things, and that's okay to say that.
But this
Oh,
generation are all over self-love. We don't have to teach
Yeah.
that because they they don't think anything of spending money on themselves for
Yeah.
self-care. I mean, that's just something that they
There's
do.
now like a competitive side to it
Whereas
though, isn't there?
from
yeah.
my generation, you didn't spend money on yourself.
No, it was like going to the salon. You'd have those people that go and do their weekly or one monthly salon for the hair, and that was it. Nothing
Mm.
else was acceptable, really. What's your most popular product, Helen, out of the Temple Spa range?
Oh, I think it's Repose, the 10 essential oils, and the In the Beginning cleanser. So we
That's
start with
nice.
the In the Beginning, and it's just like it's a spa journey. As soon as you apply it, and we do our little ritual with it, don't we? So we, just using it, taking in the breaths, and it is the most uplifting product in the beginning. It's just a beautiful experience to use it. So it's about the the textures, the smells, and the experience of having that special product, which you'd only use if you went to the spa. So it's just a real treat. So I think In the Beginning and Repose is one of our favorites, isn't it?
Yeah,
Doing
I've got the orange set, haven't I? The glow.
She's the glow up girl. This
Yeah.
one, she likes all the
I
glow.
love anything orange scented.
It's
So I
vitamin
got
C.
the vitamin
Yeah.
C. I love it. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
So
Jess is.
what's the next event you guys have got coming up? So is it
So
a
we're
pamper
doing,
night?
we decided to do something together because usually like in Time for Tea, I do a lot of like, sometimes we do like arts and crafts, or we'll write our own affirmations and we'll do some mirror work. And I thought, well, why don't we do a little event where I can do that side of things, and then Helen can obviously do what her expertise is in doing the facials and the guided meditation. So we've just decided to do like a self-love Sunday. Because we wanted to do a Sunday because I thought it's nice to do on a Sunday night, because sometimes you get the Sunday jitters, don't you? Or you get the Sunday dreads before Monday, so it'd be nice to do something that's calming and relaxing and let women have that time out to themselves. So we're going to do it at the Green Lodge in Hoylake, which is just down the road from here. And they've given us kind of like a secluded part of the pub to do it in.
Yeah.
So people can meet and have the tea before they want to. If they want to, they can have a little glass of fizz if they want to. And then it's just going to be a night of treats for themselves,
And
isn't it? And a little
connection
bit of,
as
yeah,
well,
and
because for
connecting with each
me,
other.
the last one I did, and there's a few ladies didn't know each other, like, I've got no one to come with, even better.
Yeah.
Come on your own, come and make
Meet someone
friends.
new.
I will make sure that, you will be talking to everybody by the end of it, because
Yeah.
you include people, don't you? Because
Yeah.
that's part of what we do. So it's
The
inclusion.
conversations are always lovely, aren't they?
Yeah, and open up that space as well. So we can open up space. I did one last week for the Martin Gallagher over in New Ferry, and obviously that was really about mindfulness, but it's opening up that space and letting people talk. So each one I do will be different depending on who's
What the
there,
vibe is.
and you just got to go with what you've got to read the room and go with that. But opening up, I do menopause workshops, so we talk about our menopause journey, empty nest syndrome. It's a real thing. I felt it. And I think that's why I wanted to start my own business, Flourish and Glow, because I didn't want to be just the lady selling Temple Spa stuff. For me,
it's an experience.
it's about
and community, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and just opening up conversations for different topics, whatever they may be,
It's just been Mental Health Awareness Week last week, and the theme was community, and it really struck me this year because community has just been massive for me and my mental health journey, and it's also a huge part of what we do now, isn't it? Sometimes, when people start up something, they don't give too much of themselves away, whereas my whole UPN, if you want to call it, has been my story and
your authentic self.
my vulnerability, because I know for a fact that people in Time for Tea would not open up to me as much if I hadn't shared my vulnerability, because that's what links us together. And sometimes, you worry, oh, am I telling too much? But actually, it is part of who we are, isn't it? And it's the reason behind why we do it. And it's also okay to say to them, I'm still going through a hard time sometimes. I'm not fixed. I'm never going to be fixed. But I'm getting stronger each time I bounce back up, and you will too. So because you can share those experiences and offer advice from someone who's actually walked the walk, it just builds that stronger bond, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's trust, isn't it? And everyone who comes, walks through that door for Time for Tea, they be their first time, but they won't feel like that within 5 minutes. Well, minutes, not straight away. It's like, do you want a hug? Do you need a hug? Or, introduce everyone. And no one's clicky.
No.
They don't all sit next to each other each week. People sit in different places, and Jess just makes them feel welcome and safe. Yeah.
So when is the Sunday pamper night that you guys are doing?
Sunday the 1st of June.
1st of June. Okay, that's brilliant. And let me see. So what is your top 3 things that you do for yourself to make sure that you stay quite high vibe?
I love a cold dip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where do you do that?
Liso Bay, mostly.
Do you have a wetsuit?
No, I've just got a cozy.
He just goes in.
I've got a poncho though, and I've got a dry robe. Well, it's a knockoff dry robe. It's not the real dry robe.
Ladies?
Yeah, so have you heard of the Wirral Blue Tits?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, that's who I normally go with. Yeah.
That's it all.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's a beautiful community, and that is one. I mean, I've tried all sorts over the years, but cold dipping is my thing. Like, it genuinely resets me, and I feel fantastic after it.
You nearly got me there on Sunday.
Yeah, we will go
We
through
didn't
it.
quite make it, did we?
But also, yeah, for me, I'd say cold dips, getting out in nature. Recently I had a bad dip because I've got like a few hormonal things as well. So my mental health linked with all my women's health as well. And I went through a really bad low, but I always knew that I was going to come out of it, because I always do. But when I was coming out of it, the walks that I was going on just felt different. Like, I was just noticing things in nature that I'd never noticed before, like patterns on the sand or twigs in the trees or the different leaves and things that, like, it was almost like it was trying to say to me, you're okay.
Yeah.
So I've noticed more than ever that nature is like my higher power, I think, because it just does something to me. It kind of just reminds me how beautiful the world is, and the simplicities of the world that make me feel better, basically. So cold dips in nature, and probably getting away in Wales.
Going to your little special place.
Yeah, going to Wales.
What's mine? Mine's definitely my horse. So every day, waking up to go to my pony and going out on rides, going down to the beach on him and just connecting. As soon as I see him, my heart is connected to him. So that's like feeds my soul, and helping others. So for me, watching people relax when I'm doing my Pampers and just seeing the difference in them, and yeah, just being there. We've been a hairdresser as well,
You're
obviously.
basically a counsellor.
Yeah. So just like, and people just tell you everything, and you absorb it, and you're just there for people. So I'm a real people's person.
Yeah.
So that kind of like is like me plugging myself in. I actually get a lot from that.
That sounds amazing. That sounds great. So how can people connect with the Positivity Club?
So we're on Instagram and Facebook. The website is coming very soon. I've procrastinated over this website for about 2 years.
I looked at your website.
Have you been on
You
it?
do have a website. Is that not your website?
It's probably up, but it's not finished.
Oh, okay, because it's definitely up. Because I was
Oh,
on it.
oh
I'm
gosh,
checking
I
it
better
out
make
now.
it, better get on that.
Positivity Club CIC.co.uk, and it looks good. It looks
Okay,
good.
good.
Talks about positive vibes. There's lots of
Yes,
nice
that's the
pictures
one.
on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Positivity Club is 3 to 10 years old.
Yeah.
Time for teens is 11 to 16 years.
Yeah.
And time for tea is adults. So over
Yeah.
18s are welcome.
Yeah, that's the one.
That sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are there any costs involved, or is this kind of free for everyone?
Yeah, so time for tea is free, or we take, if people want to put a small donation towards cakes and stuff, they can do, but there's never any pressure. Time for teens is £5. And then Positivity Club's £10, but we also do apply for funding. So when we got the National Lottery funding, that was free. I've just got a family toolbox funding to do some workshops with the home ed community, because we've got a growing community, and we're all 500 plus children now, home electively home educated. So that's going to go towards free workshops for them. And I've also used different pots of funding that I've had to do trips for Time for Teens, or have guest speakers and stuff for Time for Tea. We've been to Nanny Sharon's alpaca farm. We've been on loads of little trips and stuff. So we're always looking for funding. We're doing a little fundraiser in the summer as well, doing the coastal walk, trying to get funds. But yeah, funding is quite difficult on the Wirral at the minute, because everybody's kind of after the same pots of money. But that's something that I want to get better at. Because I would love to just offer everything for free. I would absolutely love that, but obviously, things getting more and more expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
We got a
I
question
also
saying, what does CIC mean? And why did you choose to go with the CIC as well?
CIC is a community interest company. So basically it's a company, but you have to prove that everything you're doing is going back into for the benefit of the community. I was very tempted to do charity, but what I realised very quickly is that when you do a charity, your trustees have more control over it than you do. And I didn't want to give my baby away. So CIC is the best of both worlds, really, because you can still apply for funding, and you can have your trustees, but you've got more control. If that makes sense.
Sounds like
I
you've
also do
accomplished a
one-to-one
lot.
sessions for children. I forgot to mention before.
Amazing.
So we do like Positivity Club sessions, but we do it on a one-to-one like child coaching level, because some children get overwhelmed coming into a busy environment, or they feel like they need that personalized, tailored approach. So I've been loving my little one-to-ones at the minute as well.
What would your kind of final message be for somebody who's watching this and they're thinking, I'm not sure if I should come, I'm not sure if it's for me? What would you say?
Give it a go. Just give it a try. Come in. If you don't like it, the door is open. There's never any pressure to talk. If you don't want to in Time for Tea, there's never any pressure to get involved in things. People do it at their own pace. We've had people that have come for weeks and weeks and not spoken, and then suddenly they feel like it's their time to talk and they're ready. So we have a little code of kindness, don't we, at the beginning, that kind of just lays down our little very simple ground rules of just, confidentiality, being a safe place. We also are very open and honest in the fact that we can't solve everybody's problems. So like, a lot of the time we don't specialize in things like domestic violence, or, suicidal ideation, or specialize in crime or things like that as well. So a lot of the time, or, cost of living crisis. So a lot of the time, my old job as family support worker, so I've got like links to other organisations, or obviously crisis lines and stuff that we would
You
then
point
pass
them in the right direction.
signposts to. So we have to make that quite clear, because it can be quite tricky with mental health, and people, you have to kind of put your boundaries in a little bit as well, because people can can be, become quite reliant on you, or wanting them to you to text them back at 1 o'clock in the morning, or
Yeah.
it's important sometimes to be like this. We're here to help you and give you that peer support and give you a hug. But it's
even on the group chats, you've got like a WhatsApp group, haven't you, as well? It's like being mindful of what you get on there as well, isn't it? Just
sometimes people will talk about things and other people don't want to,
yeah,
but no one
engage and
has to
stuff.
talk,
And what's lovely, because some groups you don't want to go, because you don't want to go in and then have to say, oh hi, my name's Helen, and there's a lot of groups that do that, and not everyone wants to do that. I mean, that would be my worst nightmare.
People get really anxious.
Yeah, it's like I can't go in and introduce myself. You don't even have to. You just sit there, and when you want to talk, you can. There's no like, you just come in, you're welcomed, and
that sounds great. I've got social anxiety, so I'm not good in situations where I'm waiting my turn to talk, but I can do talks to over 100 people if I'm in control. So it's a very different.
It's
So
because you know where you stand, isn't it? It's because you know what to expect.
Yeah. So I can do public speaking, and I can start and end it on my kind of time. If I'm waiting for somebody else who's got the control,
builds up.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean with that. Totally.
Especially when everyone's just staring at, wait, no, it's your turn now, and you're like, it's like deer in the headlights, isn't it?
And then you're thinking, oh, what did I say? It wasn't as good as what she said, or whatever, and you just totally overthink it, don't you?
Yeah.
So we've got a question saying, is it a cafe? And if it is, or where and when, and that kind of thing.
So Time for Tea is in Latchell, which is in West Kirby on Banks Road. It's a gorgeous space, isn't it? We're really lucky because we know the owners and they give us it for free. And it's on a Wednesday at 6:30.
Every Wednesday,
Every Wednesday,
6:30
on. Well, I say till 8:30, but we usually go on till 9.
Yeah.
Don't we?
And sometimes you'll walk down to the front then, won't you?
Yeah, we watch the sunset sometimes together, and we've had all sorts. We've had sound baths, we've had guest speakers, we've had workshops, we've had film nights, we've had absolutely loads of things.
Friendships that come from it, they're really
sometimes the nicest nights are the ones where you haven't got anything planned and people just turn up and chat. And just, you don't overthink it all. You just go, the conversation just starts, and then we just let it flow naturally. But we would love some laughter yoga. So we will book you in for that.
Yoga. It's fun. Helen, tell everyone how they can find you, how they can book in with you before we finish.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Flourish and Glow. So look me up, and I've got my sunflower, so that's my logo, the sunflower, because my dad used to say to me, I was like, I reminded him of a sunflower, always looking up to the sun and the light and shining my light bright. So that's my little logo, the sunflower. So obviously my dad didn't get to see me create my little business. No, he wasn't around. But I was like, oh, there's a sunflower, Dad. So so Facebook, I am on Instagram. I don't do enough on Instagram, but tech's not my thing. Obviously I do, I love my wellness. So if you wanted one at home, I do Pampers at home or workplace, any space really. So we're popping up all over the place, aren't we? Watch the space.
That sounds amazing. Oh, thank you ladies so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Really good. You're welcome.